Good morning. It's a wonderful October morning up here at Roselawn Cemetery, and I've come up here this morning into the tranquil beauty and silence and peace of the cemetery to just reflect for a few moments on the suicide of my sister, Maye, which actually happened 4 years to the day. If you find this uncomfortable, please just go on to something else. But I feel that it's something I should do. I find it good to talk, and if it helps someone else cope with tragedy, the same kind of tragedy that we have experienced, in some little way, then hopefully it will be helpful. Yes, 4 years ago to the day, I joined a club that I never wanted to join. I hadn't any thought of what was going to happen or anything else, so there was no strong indication. And I became a member of the Relatives of Suicide Club because my sister took her own life. She went out into the garage at the back and she hung herself. She was 59. She left 3 loving children. She left a loving husband. She had no financial worries. Everything in the garden was rosy. And yet this is what she did. Prior to 6 months before she took her life, May lived just a very happy in life. But 6 months before she died, she spiraled into severe depression. She went into a place that no one could draw her back from. She developed feelings of uselessness. Her self-esteem, her value of herself just diminished to nothingness, and she developed severe negative thoughts about herself. She felt that the world would be, and her family, the world would be a better place without her, and her family would be in turn better off if she wasn't the millstone that she felt she was hanging round her neck, or round their neck. And the sad thing was that she was much loved, and much loved not only by her family but a wide circle of friends. And this black place that she went into, we couldn't draw her out of it. Black had become white and white had become black. And she received all the counselling and all the rest of it from the top people, and yet she couldn't be drawn out of this. My sister left no note. There was no explanation from her, just the continual ramblings of a very, very disturbed and ill person prior to her death, that she just felt hopeless and worthless, despite being constantly told to the contrary and reassured to the contrary. And this is what she did. There was no answers to her suicide. you know, thinking back on it, uh, it's 4 years ago, and it is as if it's a nightmare. Whenever I think about it, I say to myself, why did such an intelligent woman who had everything to live for, why did she do this? It seems unreal. It seems ridiculous that she should have taken this action. And of course, as I say, her mind was extremely disturbed at the time, and for the 6 months prior, in which she lost 3 stone in weight. She just stopped eating basically, and couldn't be encouraged to do so. She had no, she was listless. She had no love of life anymore at all. It disappeared. What do you say? Life is very, very strange. Life is very, very hard to handle. And driving along, I look at house doors and windows, but doors in particular, and as you're driving along, you say to yourself, I wonder who lives in that big house. Isn't that a wonderful house? But you've got to realise that behind a door, very often there is a sad story. And we've all got sad stories. And life is like that. Life is, yes, it's joyful on occasions, but ultimately we're all progressing towards death by one way or another, and it's extremely sad for those left behind in particular. There are many organisations in Northern Ireland that offer guidance and offer counselling for the loved ones of to whom this dreadful act has happened. There's Crews, there's PIPS, there's organisations like SOS, there's Grief Share, there's FASA, there's the Welcome Helpline of Lifeline, and it's got a 24-hour service. And don't feel afraid to avail of these services if you are feeling depressed and low. Get in there, talk about it to somebody. Sure, don't keep it to yourself. What keeps me going? Yes, the love and companionship of a good wife and family and friends. Yes, that keeps you going, it certainly does, and encourages you. But what keeps me going even more so is that I believe that this life is not the end. This is my faith. And you take that away from me and I have very little left. I believe that there is a heaven to be gained, and I also believe that there is a hell to be avoided. And I certainly do not believe that suicide is the unpardonable or unforgivable sin. My sister was in a steep depression, deep depression. She was in a pit and she was not herself. And I believe that God knows the position that she was in. Thinking about life after death, if I didn't believe in it, then I would say to myself that life, yes, with family and friends it can be enjoyable, but ultimately it's pretty pointless. But the Bible tells us, in my Father's house are many mansions. I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, you might be also. I find that pretty good. I want to be there. Hope that you have found this wee chat useful, helpful in your struggle, whatever struggle that might be. God bless.